What up, Tube? In the garage tonight. I'm gonna get started on this C10 project we got going. Lots coming on this guy. Stay tuned. So this C10 we got going here, we're gonna cut it down, make a mini little hot rod truck out of it. First thing I need to do though is address some of the issues. We bought it kind of sight unseen, picked it up super cheap, and it definitely has some quirks. It's already been chopped, and it does have suicide door hinges on it. Needs a whole bunch of stuff on the body. It's got some rotten corners, but we're gonna cut nearly 15 to 18 inches out of the middle of it and weld it back together. So I'm not afraid to do some sheet metal work and get that all taken care of. But yeah, let me show you what I'm gonna get into tonight, and yeah, we'll go from there. So we brought this thing up and put it on this weld table cart that I put together a week ago, just so that I can move it around the shop easy. Obviously, these C10s were super wide, and I want it to be super small. So we're gonna kind of mimic the width of George's truck and section that thing in the middle to match. I do have a set of partial fenders for the front. I don't know if I want to do a half radius cut in a fender and put something in there, or just shave this firewall and pull it all the way back. But step one is taking care of some of this work that's been done on it before. Before I cut the cab in half, I want to get things to line up better. Obviously, this door is closed. I mean, it's closed. It doesn't line up at all. We're rotten in our cab corners, typical 64. It looks like somebody rebuilt or tried to rebuild this, or just bondoed it. I don't know. I'm gonna pull the doors off this thing and try and straighten it out. We'll get that guy open. There were some suicide door hinges put in here, or let's say an attempt at a hinge. They're just hanging on some flat stock that's poorly welded in there. The whole door moves up and down when you open it. So I want to get these doors lined up and closing before I cut this thing in half. And then the chop itself isn't too bad, but I get a bunch of filler on the inside here. I'm not quite sure why. Kind of scared to see what's under there. You can definitely tell that nothing got sprayed with weld through on the back side, so we'll deal with that. And then, man, there's like a 1/4 inch of bondo on the inside of the door. So lots of little quirks we want to get out. So I want to get the cab a little bit better before I cut it up. After I get that all straightened out, then I'll start to figure out how I'm gonna cut this thing in half. Brace it up, cut it in half, take the section in the middle out. We're gonna build all new floors for it. I'm just gonna get rid of all these stock floors, and then measuring the chop on the top, it's pretty close. I am about maybe a little bit more than less than a 1/4 inch off on one side of the window from the other. Not horrible. Totally fixable. Like I said, hopefully there's not a bunch of hidden things that we find once we start cutting it apart. I am definitely gonna find some rust, and I'm okay with that, but I don't want to find anything else. But yeah, we'll see. So tonight I'm gonna pull these doors off, start hacking at this thing, and just pulling bondo out of it. Like I said, there's filler up in the door frame on the inside. So I want to get all that pulled out, redo these hinges so that they're sturdy and the truck isn't just going to fall apart if I start cutting it. And then I'll stick it out on the inside, I want to come up with some way to reinforce the cab with some square stock that slides together so that I can cut the middle out of it, and without even losing any of its strength and how it's sticked off, just be able to push the two pieces together and maybe have two pieces of square that ride inside of each other or something that are stabilizing the inside. That way I can just push it together. Cab's not going to twist. I did a bunch of measuring when we got it. It's really straight. It's really straight for everything that's been done to it. So I'm not really concerned about it being all twisted and funky. The door fitment's just off, and I want to take care of that before I cut it in pieces. But yeah, stay tuned. Make sure you click the like button, subscribe, comment, keep the page active. Let me know your feelings on this. A lot of people were upset when I told them I was going to take this 64 cab and cut 18 inches out of the middle of it. I think it's rad. If you don't like it, let me know why below. So I started digging in here because I saw a little bit of filler in the door jambs. And this driver's side door didn't close at all. The gaps were all off. So instead of, it was probably an accident or something, instead of fixing it, they tried to putty it. The worst is here where they did their hinge. All of this, I don't know if you can see how deep that is. It's about a ½ inch of putty making up this entire door jamb. I mean, I understand doing what you gotta do, make things seal up, but that's not the type of work I do. So, I grabbed this, one of my shittier body hammers that I don't ever use, and that hard. So yeah, I'm gonna cut that out, replace it, put it where it's supposed to be, and get this whole door to hinge right. But we got to do that before I can cut it apart. I wouldn't feel right building a truck, trying to sell it, knowing there's a ½ inch of putty in the damn door jamb. But hey, some people build things differently. Oh, and even better, so I look at these bolts, I'm like, they're pretty rusted. That's kind of weird. You maybe got to get a wrench on the back side there to get that off. And then I saw this, and then I went around a little bit here and realized this hinge is legit booger welded to the door. So that there's no way to take the door off of the hinge. This bottom one, that's not holding anything. It looks like they might have just welded inside the hole there. So that's nice. So any of you out there at home that do work like that, just stop. Seriously, that's so dangerous. This thing gets hit in an accident, that door's not going to stay on there. Your booger weld's not going to hold that whole hinge together, opening and closing. There's a reason why these things come with directions, at least. Or ask a friend. It's not that hard. It really isn't that hard to put suicide doors on something, especially a C10, of all things. We're gonna start over. I'm gonna pull all of that out now, I think, and reassess the whole door situation. I have a nicer set of suicide door hinges in my toolbox here that I bought for a different project. I think we're gonna start from scratch. I'm gonna pull this door off. Probably gonna have to cut it off, which is even worse and pretty sad. But yeah, don't be a hack. Don't do this stuff. Seriously, like, this is your life. You're driving around. This is other people's lives. You're driving around, somebody falls out of your truck, or you hit somebody, your door pops off. You sell this to somebody, their door pops off going down the freeway. People die. For real, people die. Don't be a douchebag. Don't do shitty work. So after a little unsuccessful prying and trying to pull some bolts off that were poorly put in, I'm gonna not fuck with this thing. The rust is too much. The bolts ain't coming out. The top hinge is welded to the truck. Yeah, I'm gonna change gears tonight, because I came in here wanting to cut some stuff up and have fun, get a little custom. So instead, I'm gonna soak all of these rusty ass bolts. Listen to that, can you hear it? Yeah. I'm gonna soak all these rusty ass bolts in some WD-40 overnight. Try and get the nuts and bolts off of the suicide door hinges without destroying my doors. Bonus, I did figure out that, sorry, I'm spraying this down as we speak. I did figure out, while I was messing around in here, I did figure out that there is power windows installed on this door, both doors. This door has a crushed, broken window inside of it that's all jammed and crooked, and this inner panel's welded in. So I'm gonna have to just cut that out and figure out how to get it out of there. But yeah, there's power windows, so that's cool. It's not all bad tonight, but we're definitely not gonna make any progress like I thought I was gonna. But that's okay. I think we'll shift gears. And I was challenged by a buddy of mine that has a channel here to do the one that got away challenge. And yeah, we'll just do that instead. So let me clean this stuff up here. I'm gonna close this cab up, finish off some WD-40, and then we'll do the one that got away. So take two on tonight's garage night. Sometimes things just don't go as you plan. Not a big deal. We'll get to that C10 another night when I have some help. Get George in here and get those doors off there and start over. It's a shame because the suicide door hinge kit that they used is a good kit. You can see on the passenger side door that opens and closes pretty decent, that it was done right too on that side, but not on the driver's side. But anyway, we'll continue with that another night. Maybe I'll mark it up for cut tonight and do some measuring. But since we can't do that, I'll get this challenge out of the way. My buddy Jason over at Country Boy Gas Garage, make sure you follow him too, challenged me to the one that got away challenge. So we'll talk about the one that got away for me, which I don't have a lot of those stories. Usually when I want to get something, I work hard until I get it. If I don't find the one that I want, I'll go find another one. Either way, irrelevant. Make sure you follow Jason over at Country Boy Gas Garage. He tore an old bus out of the woods here in Oregon that he found, and crazy, just went in the woods, found a bus, did a little bit of working on it and drove it right out. Pretty awesome. He's got it on his channel. He's got all of it on video, and he's got a cool little channel that that you should definitely subscribe and tune into. So, the one that got away. Like I said, usually if I find something I want, or a car I want, or a car I want to build, I'll do what I got to do to make it happen. So I don't have a lot of stories about the one that got away. The only story that I have to share really, when I was 15 going on 16, I used to drive by a car dealership every day on the way to school and see this cherry red Volkswagen Bug. It was probably early 70s. My memory's not real great at this point, but that thing was awesome. It was lowered. It had all kinds of stuff done to it. At that age, I really had no clue about much of anything to do with cars. I hadn't really built anything. I had bought for my first truck, or my first car, I bought a 79 F100 for $500. It was pretty rotten out, and I hated it. I hated it. I wasn't a truck guy when I turned 16. I never wanted a truck. I got the thing because I could afford it, and my stepfather at the time, or my mom's boyfriend, had a friend who had it. It had a straight six in it. So I bought it. It was $500. It was a running, driving vehicle. And it's as shitty as I thought it was. That was my first vehicle. At the time, I thought that it was horrible. And I drove it, you know, as little as possible. And to and from school and to and from work. And usually tried to hitch rides with everybody else. Now, if I had it now, I'd love that truck. It was a long bed, 79. It ended up getting sold to somebody who I hear put a Windsor in it, but it would have been a cool truck. So, that one got away, I guess. But the Bug, back to the Bug. So, every day on the way to school, we would drive past this red Volkswagen. Thing was cherry. Lowered, all kinds of stuff done to it. It was sitting at a car dealership. I remember that pretty clearly, that it was like $4,700. Might have been, yeah, 45, 47. Totally unobtainable for high school dishwasher. I had a job as a dishwasher. There was no way I was ever gonna make enough money to buy this car. I stopped in the dealership. I talked to the guy who owned the dealership. I got him down to his bottom dollar. I remember negotiating with him, knowing I don't have the money for this. Even if he tells me it's cheaper, I'm not gonna have the money for it. But I get him to come down to $4,000, and it's gotta be cash. So I went home and tried to figure out any way I could make that money. I was making, I think, $4.15 an hour, maybe $3.75 an hour was what I was making on my job. Something like that. It was less than $5 though I was making as a part-time dishwasher, a couple $100 a week here and there. I tried to sell everything I could. I grew up in a not very well-off family, single mom. She had 5 of us, so there was no way that I could ask my mom or any of my relatives for the money. I don't come from that kind of family, so I worked real hard trying to get this car, trying to get the money, trying to do whatever I could for it. A couple months goes by, it's still sitting on the lot. I went back and I told the guy, I said, look, I need this car. I really want this car. Is there anything I can do around here? Can I work for you? Can't you have something I can do that I could work in trade for cash value for the car? And of course he said no, and I tried. And long story short, eventually one day I drove by and the car wasn't there. I was pretty sad. So the car was gone. It got away. Fast forward a few years, it was for sale not too far from that dealership, just sitting on the corner of the highway. Somebody had a for sale sign on it, and it sat out there. I drove past it a couple times and thought, and at this point I was probably 19, 20 years old. I definitely could have picked the car up if I wanted to. I remember driving past and thinking, man, I should stop and see how much they want for that and pick it up, because I really wanted it, but I never did. So that car got away, and honestly, I'm kind of happy about that. I've had a few Volkswagens in my day after that, and every single one is a nightmare. I'm not a Volkswagen guy because of that. Don't want to be a Volkswagen guy. If I get a Volkswagen, I'm gonna tear everything out of it and put a small block in it, or an LS, or who knows what. Anything but German engineered motors. I don't like them, I don't understand them. I've never had any issues or any good luck with them, so. No German stuff for me. I enjoy a nice Mercedes. Their 80s, 90s cars are super rad. But when it comes to their drive powertrain, I'm clueless. I get friends help. But yeah, so that's the one that got away from me. Not a super exciting story. I wish I had something cooler for you guys, but that's it. I know I'm supposed to call people out on this challenge and keep the ball rolling, but honestly, it's been floating around for a while, and I've seen quite a few stories, and I'm sure you have too. So I'm gonna kill this challenge and not call anybody out and let it die. So short video tonight. That's my one that got away story. This C10 is gonna get cut up sooner or later. Hopefully sooner than later. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that button below. Subscribe to the channel. Tune in, watch as we build crazy shit. This next project that we're getting into here should be pretty awesome. Like I said in my previous video, my buddy George and I want to build this and just put together a quality hot rod, and you can buy it. So we're gonna sell it. You can watch the whole build from top to bottom. So there'll be no hiding anything. You'll see every nook and cranny. And as you saw in this video today, I'm not gonna hide that shit. I'm gonna show you stuff that we're gonna fix. This thing's gonna be cherry when it's done. Still kind of undecided on the motor. I do have a small block that's an easy throw in there, but we are gonna set it up for a small block. I got a 327 that's a ripper in that back corner. I should be saving that for my 31 Chevy Proj 5 window. But you never know. If I get the right offer, it'll go in there. But yeah, we're gonna custom build a frame from scratch. We're doing the frame rails. They're already partially done over there. I gotta pinch them. First, I wanna get this cab sectioned and made to the size that we want to, so I know how wide to make my frame, and go from there. I'm gonna base the frame lightly off of a 32 Ford. Excuse me, sorry. Only because I have one. It's already boxed in and already set up the same way I'm thinking with this. So we're gonna use that as a template, but make our own. I'm gonna step it so it's pretty low. We're not gonna lay this thing on the ground on air or anything. Go with more of like a straight driver suspension. We're gonna do a 3-link with some coilovers in the back, straight axle up front. Nothing fancy. Small block probably. And just low and ugly, but I don't want to call it a rat rod. It's a hot rod. It's not going to be rusty. It's going to be pretty. I already got paint for it, just hot rod flat. We'll probably go hot rod flat with some red wheels. I got some Kraggers over here that I think will look bitchin' on it. They're gonna get powder coated red, so super classic kind of hot rod, black and red. Obviously I'll fix the chop. I'm gonna fix the doors, section it, and it's just gonna be rad. The front end we're still kind of up in the air on. I didn't even think about it yet. I do want to incorporate those dual headlights that were in it originally somehow. Maybe have a partial fender coming out, you know, that's just kind of cut back, you know, maybe not. We'll see. The important part is I want 2 full-grown adults to sit in that thing when it's done, and comfortably be able to cruise it anywhere. The rear end I have for it has some longer gears, so we'll be able to tear it up on the highway at this thing. Hopefully we'll get it done in the next 6 or 8 months here. Pick a show to take it to, and I want to sell it at the show. We will drive it to that show. It's got to be roadworthy and road proven before I drive it. So I build quality. I want people to see that. I don't hack things up, and especially this will be the first thing I've ever built not for me. It's the first truck that I'm ever gonna build and sell. Usually I don't sell my stuff, and if I do, it's to someone else who's gonna cut it up and keep going with it. So anyway, as I ramble on and this video gets longer, I can probably cut this off. So once again, remember, subscribe to my channel, hit that button below, like, comment. Let me know what you think about these builds we got going on. Let me know if you're upset I'm gonna cut a C10 in half. I'm super excited about it. Hopefully you are too. And if you're not, follow along anyway. I think you'll be impressed when we're done. Have a good night, everybody.